Welcome back. I am Collins Trott, Child Development Faculty on the Wallace Community College Dothan campus. In this episode, we are going to be learning about how to plan effective and meaningful curriculum. In early care and education, we value how children process information. We recognize how important their feelings are, and we place great significance on how children learn to socialize with others. As intentional teachers, our primary goal is to incorporate curriculum that supports the whole child in all domains of development, including social, emotional, physical, and intellectual. In this episode, we will focus on the following objectives. First, explain the benefits of planning developmentally appropriate curriculum. Second, describe the teacher's role as it pertains to curriculum. And third, summarize the steps in the curriculum planning cycle. So join me, Ms. Trott, as we learn all about how to plan effective and meaningful curriculum. What is curriculum? Curriculum is an organized framework that delineates the content children are to learn, the process through which children achieve identified curricular goals, what teachers do to help achieve these goals, and the context in which teaching and learning occur. In other words, curriculum helps teachers organize the day-to-day activities. It outlines the learning goals and outcomes that teachers need to assess. And lastly, curriculum provides teachers with the guidance and structure they need to teach. From the moment a child is born, each interaction and experience affects their brain development and lays the foundation for future success. Research on brain development shows that early experiences are essential. If children are not interested in what they are learning, and if it's not meaningful or connected to their cultural practices, they will not create new neural pathways in which to store new knowledge. Well-planned curriculum provides opportunities for children to use, build, and master skills. With every engaging activity, children are encouraged to investigate key concepts in mathematical, science, and literacy, explore their creativity, establish relationships with peers, and develop self-efficacy skills. Teachers are researchers observing children to decide how to extend their learning both in the moment and by planning new play environments. Teachers play a pivotal role in setting up the environment, providing the learning experiences, and guiding children so they can construct concepts, develop new skill sets, and discover who they are. Additionally, teachers are active participants in a child's development as they watch, listen, and think about what each child needs to thrive. As teachers monitor numerous situations throughout the day, they must consider when to step in and engage the children, and when to step aside and allow students to scaffold one another. At the center of it all, teachers who really know their children are better equipped to find the right balance of how to engage, motivate, and challenge learners. Children reveal who they are and how they think through their actions and behaviors, how they play with others, how they use materials, and even the types of activities they choose to tell us a story. Each child has their own story to tell, and it's up to us as intentional teachers to gather essential evidence and artifacts that can be used to inform our decisions on how to best support each child's learning, growth, and development. Curriculum should be thoughtfully planned, challenging, engaging, developmentally appropriate, culturally and linguistically responsive, comprehensive, and likely to promote positive outcomes for all young children. To guide our decision-making and to effectively implement meaningful curriculum, we must utilize the curriculum planning process. Step 1 is observation, looking and listening. To develop effective curriculum, quality observations must be conducted. Whether spontaneous or planned, formal or informal, in-depth observations provide teachers with an advantage point. When teachers take detailed notes and record objective facts, they recognize each child's individual pace, temperament, capabilities, interests, and needs. It is with this vital data that they can meet children where they are at developmentally and map out where they need to go, intentionally setting reasonable expectations and goals. Step 2 is documentation, recording evidence and gathering artifacts. Documentation provides the vital evidence and visual artifacts that teachers need to accurately track each child's learning, growth, and development in order to plan developmentally appropriate curriculum. Documentation helps children hold into memory the significant moments of play, exploration, and learning. To gather data, teachers can opt to use several tools and techniques. Whether a teacher uses an anecdotal note, frequency count, or checklist to gather documentation, the goal is to have an extensive collection of factual evidence along with work samples that highlight each child's actions and behaviors, verbal and nonverbal communication skills, social interactions, and intellectual abilities. Step 3 is interpretation, analyzing observation data. Before a teacher can reflect and plan developmentally appropriate curriculum, they must first interpret and analyze the documentation that they have gathered. Once you have collected your data, only then will you begin to analyze what does this all mean. As you review your documentation, you begin to think about each child's individual actions, mannerisms, and behaviors, as well as ponder over peer interactions and group dynamics. Whether you analyze your data on your own or collectively with a co-teacher, it is the careful interpretation of observations and documentation that generate ideas for the next steps in planning curriculum. Step 4 is reflection, planning for the next step. It is during the reflective process that interpreting the meaning of children's behaviors and interactions becomes important. These interpretations give us insight into each child's story. Each child's story informs our responsive practice. With this valuable insight, we can adapt the environment, modify the daily schedule and/or routines, make decisions about how to guide the children's learning based on what the child knows and can do, as well as what the child is ready to try. And step 5, implementation. Once a plan has been formally written, teachers will implement it accordingly. While implementing the plan, teachers watch and listen to determine if the curriculum was effective. They will watch how children respond to the activities, materials, and resources, and how they interact with peers and the environment, and how they process the new information. In essence, teachers are looking for the light bulb to go off. It is during the implementation step that the curriculum planning cycle begins again. Curriculum planning requires a considerable amount of time. Teachers need time to observe and collect documentation. They need time to interpret their data, and they need time to reflect on how to use that data to plan effective strategies that will foster a child's learning. Now, let's review what we've learned. As intentional teachers, our primary goal is to incorporate curriculum that supports the whole child in all domains of development. Well-planned curriculum provides opportunities for children to use, build, and master skills. For some, curriculum can provide the framework for learning. For others, it can be a variety of planned activities. Still, for others, curriculum is a way to drive learning outcomes, goals, and objectives. Teachers play a pivotal role in setting up the environment, providing the learning experiences, and guiding children so they can construct concepts, develop new skill sets, and discover who they are. To plan meaningful curriculum, teachers are encouraged to utilize the curriculum planning cycle. That wraps us up for this episode. You can learn more about this topic by reviewing the resources posted in your course. As always, if you have any questions, please contact me or your instructor. Thanks for joining me, Miss Trott, as we learned all about how to plan effective and meaningful curriculum.